Out of all the creatures with the most painful bites and stings, the black sea urchin is probably the most obvious. Out of all the animals we'll talk about today, the black sea urchin is the most noticeable thing you should never touch. This creature is literally covered with spikes. Nothing about it suggests that you should pick it up. And if for whatever reason you did pick up a black sea urchin, you would be in immediate pain. These animals are not aggressive, but they do hang out all across the world, in cold water and warm water, and often in shallow rock pools and coral reefs where people might be swimming. Even if you didn't pick up the sea urchin on purpose, you could still make physical contact with it. And if that happens, or if you accidentally step on one, you are going to be in for a world of hurt. First, you will have immediate pain upon physical contact with a black sea urchin. You will probably have puncture wounds on your skin that will look like botched acupuncture. The puncture wounds can become infected, but your more immediate problem will be the horrible stinging pain and the black colour coming from sudden bruises at the site of contact. The biggest issue here is that if you get deep puncture wounds, you may need serious medical attention. A deep puncture wound from one of these horrifying creatures can lead to muscle aches, shock, paralysis, respiratory failure, and even death. When most people think of the strongest bites on Earth, they automatically think about the great white shark. But guess what? The great white shark does not actually have the strongest bite force in the world. In fact, most people believe the great white shark doesn't even have as strong a bite force as the Tasmanian devil or a Nile crocodile. What's really interesting about this is that nobody has ever measured the bite force of a living shark. The only information we have is from computer models, which suggests the maximum bite force of a large great white shark would be around 360 pounds of force. That's only half of what a lion can do. In fact, great white sharks don't even have the strongest bite out of any shark. That award goes to the bull shark, which has the greatest force among sharks, pound for pound. A typical bull shark has a bite force of around 478 pounds, over 100 pounds more than the great white shark. Getting stung by a wasp absolutely stinks. It's probably one of the worst experiences you can have while hanging out in your garden just minding your own business. But there is one wasp that has the most painful sting of all. It's known as the tarantula hawk wasp, and it's an absolute nightmare. Even spiders are terrified of this monster. They can reach almost 4.5 inches in length, and they live all across Latin America and in southern parts of the United States. The reason these critters are called tarantula hawk wasps is because they actually hunt tarantulas. Yes, tarantulas are generally larger than the wasps, but maybe that's half of the fun for the predators. While the hawk wasp is incredibly dangerous to tarantulas, doing horrible things like laying their larvae inside of them so that their offspring burst through the dead body of the spider, humans are less vulnerable. But its sting still hurts. In fact, the tarantula hawk wasp has the second most painful sting in the entire world, beaten only by the bullet ant. The professional entomologist who created the Sting Pain Index and who has experienced more stings voluntarily than any other person in the world has said that the only thing to do when stung by the tarantula hawk wasp is to lay down and scream. It's unbearably painful, but at least the pain only lasts for about 5 minutes. Have you ever been stung by a bee? What happened? Tell me about your bee, wasp or hornet sting experience in the comments below. Then, be sure to subscribe to Epic Wildlife to get more awesome videos just like this one. You may have wondered which dog has the strongest bite force, and I'm here today to answer the question. While no dog on Earth can compete with a crocodile in terms of bite force, or even some other animals like hyenas and wolves, dogs can still put up quite a fight. Most dogs can bite pretty hard, but some breeds bite harder. You'll probably be surprised to find out that the Mastiff actually has the biggest bite force out of any other domesticated canine. They have a whopping bite force of around 552 pounds. To put that into perspective, most average dogs can only bite with around 150 or 180 pounds per square inch. Still, that doesn't make Mastiff dogs more dangerous than others. They are still extremely docile and loving animals, and they just so happen to have an extremely deadly bite. Second place goes to the Rottweiler, which can bite with 328 pounds of force. Another fun fact, a study in 2009 by the Coalition for Living Safely with Dogs showed that the Chihuahua is the most likely dog to bite a veterinarian. So, the Mastiff is huge and has a huge bite force, but is unlikely to bite you, and the Chihuahua is the wimpiest dog in the world and extremely likely to bite you. The Amazon giant centipede is also known as the Peruvian giant yellow leg centipede. This freak of nature is not only found in the jungles of South America, but also in some areas of the Caribbean. This terrifying critter can be found in the Virgin Islands, in Jamaica, and even in Puerto Rico, so think about this on your next Caribbean vacation. These centipedes are not scary only because they grow to be about a foot long, or because they hang from cave ceilings and eat bats, but also because they have a very painful bite. The Amazon giant centipede is obviously a carnivore, and it will eat anything it can catch. It can't catch a human, but if you're silly enough to place your hand down anywhere near one of these mortifying giants, it won't mind chomping down on your finger. And when this happens, a toxin will be injected into your body that will cause severe pain. The venom is not deadly to a human, but you will experience swelling, redness, chills, weakness, and a searing pain that can last for up to 12 hours. It's actually very rare to be bitten by a giant centipede because they typically run away if they think you're near, but the few people who have been bitten describe the pain as excruciating. While we're talking about dogs, we might as well upgrade to wolves. A wolf can bite with somewhere around 400 pounds of force. That's over double what a German Shepherd can do. But a lot of it actually depends on how strong the wolf is and what type of situation it's in. If the animal is trying to defend itself, it can bite extremely hard. Some people claim it can bite at upwards of 1,200 pounds when stressed. This is true for any animal, even the mighty crocodile. When pushed into a corner, animals can typically bite much harder than normal. With such a powerful bite force, wolves are able to chomp through a moose femur in a quick 2 or 3 bites. This helps them to bring down deer, elk, and moose by quickly chomping down on the back legs while giving chase. And if the wolf makes it past the hind legs and gets to the neck, that's going to be their next bite. With their powerful jaws, a wolf will sever the windpipe or break the neck of its prey, and that's how they hunt in the wild. Let's step back from creepy insects and take a look at the Gila monster, which is one of the scariest and yet somehow cutest reptiles in the world. You can find Gila monsters throughout the northern desert in Mexico and in the southwestern United States. And while the Gila monster is no more dangerous than a baby crocodile, they can bite you with a ridiculous amount of force and make you cry for mercy. The reason for the Gila monster's brutal reputation is that when they bite their victim, they don't let go. The reptile will sink its teeth into you or anyone else it feels threatened by, and then shake its head around so that its teeth create a larger and larger wound. And while that's happening, the venom from the monster's saliva is dripping inside of the wound and causing even more pain. Most people say that the only way to get the lizard's mouth open and off your skin is by using a long stick. The reptile is like a living bear trap. It clamps down and never lets go. And with so much venom in your bloodstream, you will soon begin to experience nausea, weakness, severe vomiting, uncontrollable sweating, and chills and a fever. You might even experience difficulties breathing, which can lead to serious health problems. If you do manage to get the lizard off and shoo it away, get ready for pain that will last a few days. Out of any fish in the world, if you were to guess as to which one can bite the hardest, you would probably be right. The black piranha has one of the strongest bites not only in the water, but also in the entire world. When comparing size, a black piranha can actually bite 3 times harder than an American alligator. It doesn't produce a stronger bite force, but by comparative size it kind of does. There was even a study published in the journal Scientific Reports that suggests a piranha can outperform a Tyrannosaurus rex or a megalodon in terms of bite capability. This is because the black piranha exerts a bite force equivalent to 30 times its full body weight. This is a feat unmatched by any other animal in the natural world. The study came after scientists caught 15 black piranhas in the Amazon River and used a customized force gauge between their jaws to test their strength. Keep in mind that these fish are only a maximum of 15 inches in length. They are extremely small. The studies showed that the bite force of the black piranha was almost 72 pounds per square inch. They managed to bite so hard because their jaw muscles are extraordinarily large. Piranhas have a modified jaw closing lever that allows them to chomp down with unbelievable strength. The jaw muscles of the piranha make up for over 2% of its total body mass. Lionfish are basically the porcupines of the ocean. They may look delicate and harmless with their spiky fins, but they are actually harbingers of serious pain. The lionfish is a meat eater. The female can lay 2 million eggs each year, and they have actually bloomed in numbers in North America because people are releasing them into the wild from their aquariums. And because the lionfish has no natural predators in Atlantic waters, they are capable of reducing the local fish population by up to 70%. But as for the pain that these fish can cause, it's all about their spines. The pain from touching a lionfish occurs the moment that its spikes pierce your skin, and in the following hours you will experience redness, muscle weakness, and an aggravating tingling sensation. This is the last fish you want to accidentally touch while in the water. Depending on how many spines pierced your flesh, you can bet on increased heart rate, excruciating abdominal pain as if you had food poisoning, and even fainting, which is obviously not ideal when you're in the ocean. What's even worse is that the pain from a lionfish sting can last from between 8 hours to 30 days. You can typically treat the wounds at home, but it's a bit of a nightmare. According to the official poison.org website, you must first remove the spines, which, just like porcupine spines, will get stuck inside of your skin. But unlike porcupine spines, the ones from the lionfish contain venom glands. If you accidentally squeeze the venom gland while trying to remove the spine, you're actually going to pump more venom inside of you, which will add to the pain. Plus, sometimes the spines can break and get left inside of your skin, which can lead to even more pain down the road, either days or weeks later. Out of all the cats on Earth, which one do you think has the most ferocious bite? According to Discover Wildlife, it is the jaguar. The jaguar has the toughest bite out of any large cat in relation to its size. Research from the University of South Carolina has revealed the bite forces of the 9 big cat species, and the jaguar's is the strongest. That doesn't mean it's the deadliest, but it's very similar to the piranha in that compared to its size, it absolutely is the strongest. Jaguars are significantly smaller than tigers, and you would definitely rather be bitten by a jaguar than a lion or a tiger. But because of the way a jaguar's jaw muscles are arranged, they can clamp down with extreme leverage to deliver a very painful bite. In fact, a jaguar can easily bite straight through the skull of just about any animal. They use this when hunting caimans in the wild. A jaguar delivers around 200 psi of bite force. While definitely less than a lion, it is still a force to be reckoned with. The stonefish is another fish that has mastered the art of delivering pain. The problem with the stonefish is that you would never see it coming. These aquatic nightmares blend in perfectly with the rocks on the bottom of the ocean. However, they don't live at the bottom of the ocean. They hang out often in shallow places where you might be walking while on a beach vacation. And if you happen to step on the face of a stonefish, expect to be bitten on the foot. And let's be honest, if somebody stepped on your face, you would probably bite them in the foot as well. The venom from a stonefish sting, as they actually sting with a barb rather than bite with their mouths, causes intense pain. An example is a news story in which a man from Ireland stepped on a stonefish and within just 10 minutes was in some of the worst pain of his life. This makes a lot of sense considering the stonefish is in fact the most venomous fish in the entire world. The venom from this fish does not only cause severe pain and swelling. The venom can also kill your skin tissue, stop your limbs from functioning, and put your body into a devastating shock. The Irishman who got bit on his foot claims that it felt like somebody was hitting him in the foot with a hammer, then grinding it with a nail file. Others have described the pain as being burned constantly with an oxyacetylene torch. The good news is that the Irishman lived, as is usually the case from stonefish stings. Number 5. Alligator snapping turtle. The alligator snapping turtle didn't get its name by accident. While a popular myth is that these little reptiles love attacking people, that actually isn't the case. But it is true that the alligator snapping turtle boasts an impressive bite force of 1,000 pounds, according to the National Wildlife Federation. With such a strong bite, one of these turtles can easily snap through bone. And even though they don't attack people very often, a single bite could definitely take off one of your fingers. So whatever you do, don't get your fingers anywhere near a snapping turtle's mouth. Aside from having super powerful bites, alligator snapping turtles are mostly solitary animals that spend most of their time hanging out in the water. A snapping turtle can even hold its breath for between 40 and 50 minutes. That's a whole lot better than any human. The only time they like to venture on land is to nest with a female, and to fit in with their solitary lifestyle, snapping turtles do absolutely nothing to care for their young. They lay the eggs and then let them fend for themselves. It's no surprise that the pit viper is poisonous, but its bite is surprisingly more painful than many other poisonous snakes. And when we're talking pit vipers, we're talking about rattlesnakes, copperheads, and cottonmouths. When you get bit by one of these vipers, sometimes you don't even see the marks right away. Their fangs are so thin that you might not see any disturbance at first on your flesh, but just give it a few minutes, those symptoms will soon kick in. And it's going to suck. The first symptoms include burning pain, rapid swelling of the infected area, bruising, a horrible metallic taste in the mouth, numbness of the tongue, swelling in the throat, and other general signs of shock. But in terms of pain, it doesn't get much worse than the pit viper. People have described the sensation like being stabbed repeatedly with red-hot pokers. It is an unpleasant experience, and one that you'd never want to have yourself. The Bengal tiger is one of the most ferocious cats in the world. It is also one of the largest cats in the world, weighing upwards of 900 pounds. It should be no surprise that tigers have the strongest bites out of any other cat. Whereas a lion boasts a measly 650-pound bite, tigers have a bite force of around 1,000 pounds per square inch. That's almost double what a lion can dish out. But unlike lions and a lot like turtles, tigers are completely solitary. They live alone, they hunt alone, and they only get together during mating season. Lions hunt in a pride to take down animals, but because the tiger is so agile and has such a fierce bite force, it can take down prey much larger than itself completely alone. In fact, the Bengal tiger is the definition of an apex predator. In the wild, the Bengal tiger has no natural enemies. There is literally nothing other than humans that are willing to fight a tiger. Believe it or not, humans have a pretty strong bite force. I mean, we can't do the kind of damage that a tiger or a gorilla can do, but we have evolved to have very strong jaws. Even though we are often considered wimps, scientists are now thinking that our bites are much stronger than previously imagined. Apparently, we can chomp down with as much force as a chimpanzee in relation to our size. Remember, bite force is all relative. What's really strange is that scientists have discovered that although we have smaller teeth and smaller jaws than our ancient ancestors, we still have powerful bites. Forget size for a minute and think about this. Australian scientists have recently discovered that our jaws are roughly 40% more effective than the jaws of a chimp, an orangutan, or a gorilla. This isn't about size, it's all about efficiency. According to a paleontologist and biomechanist from the University of New South Wales, humans are super efficient biters. We pack a pretty paltry 162 pounds of force with our jaws, but considering how small our heads are, that's actually not too bad. Speaking of unpleasant experiences, there is no worse experience you can have in your life in terms of raw pain than being stung by a bullet ant. As you probably know by now, the bullet ant has the most painful sting out of any insect in the entire world. It's not even up for discussion, it's just a raw fact. The pain from being stung by a bullet ant has often been compared to being shot with an actual gun. The truly excruciating part about the bullet ant sting is that it lasts for somewhere between 12 and 24 hours, and the pain is severe until it's gone. Of course, these little ants are unable to kill you unless you have an allergic reaction, but they certainly cause excruciating agony. Even after the 24 hours is over and the pain has subsided, many people have reported uncontrollable shaking that has lasted for much longer. The toxin inside the bullet ant venom is known as ponerotoxin, and it works on the central nervous system. In addition to causing the worst pain of your life, the ponerotoxin can induce temporary paralysis and the involuntary shaking we already discussed. And as if all that weren't bad enough, while you're enduring 24 hours of blistering pain, you can go ahead and have a fever, vomit quite a bit, be horribly nauseous, and generally miserable. Before we move on to the king of the biters, let's talk about the bullet ant. This little ant is the owner of the most painful insect bite in the world. The bullet ant has gotten its name because of the horrible pain it delivers when it bites you. Unlike a normal bite that might hurt for a minute or two, then stop, the pain from one of these insects will last anywhere from 12 to 24 hours, and it is excruciating. Bullet ants live in the rainforests of South America and can grow to be roughly 1 inch long. That's about the size of your thumb. According to an entomologist who's actually been bitten by one, the pain feels like having a 3-inch nail stabbed into your flesh. This is coming from a man who has been stung by at least 150 different species of insects, either accidentally or on purpose. Apparently, the pain is so immediate that it shuts down all your senses and feels like you just stuck your finger into a 240-volt electrical socket. The box jellyfish is without a doubt one of the most lethal marine animals found in the oceans of our world. Not because it can eat you or bite your head off, but because it can sting. These weird jelly monsters with their clear white tendrils are things that haunt divers in their nightmares. The largest of all the box jellyfish is roughly 1 foot wide with tentacles that stretch at least 10 feet. As you can probably imagine, trying to escape the clutches of such a slippery beast once you're already upon it would be impossible. Nobody wants to touch the jellyfish, but because it's translucent, sometimes it's too late and you've already been stung. The pain from a box jellyfish is ridiculous. But not only is it painful, it's also fatal. According to a report from Healthline, a recent study examined incidents with box jellyfish on some islands in Thailand, and the results showed that out of 15 cases, at least 6 were fatal. Also, out of all the fatal experiences, serious symptoms were exhibited within just a few minutes. These symptoms include unbelievable pain that makes you want to weep and scream, red skin covered in what might look like caterpillar tracks, sudden disorientation, loss of consciousness, and a sudden heart attack. The animal with the strongest bite force ever is not actually alive today. Of course, I'm talking about the legendary T-Rex, gone extinct millions of years ago. The star of the movie Jurassic Park is not only one of the largest carnivores that ever walked the planet, but has also had a devastating bite. In fact, the force from a T-Rex bite is equal to the weight of about 3 small cars. It could easily crush bones and rip apart its prey. According to researchers, a computer model based on the anatomy of this dinosaur's jaw muscles combined with analysis of living relatives such as crocodilians and birds has estimated the total bite force of the T-Rex at being around 8,000 pounds. But just you wait, there's more. They also calculated how the bite force would be distributed. Research shows that at the tip of each of the T-Rex's 7-inch teeth, there would have been around 430,000 pounds per square inch of tooth pressure. So yeah, the Tyrannosaurus Rex could basically eat anything it wanted. Considering your average T-Rex weighed about 7 tons and stood 43 feet tall, that's not very surprising. Which of these animals would you prefer to be bitten by? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and come back soon for another fun video. If you haven't already, don't forget to click that subscribe button. What's the most painful encounter that you have ever had with an animal?